Okay, good morning. So we're going to finish where we left off on Tuesday morning because we didn't finish the whole exercise. And so today we're going to finish example 2.5. We're going to set up there's a separate assignment, the curve fitting assignment, and so we'll go over that. And we should have plenty of time to finish all of that stuff today or this morning. And then the first four assignments, everything is due on next Tuesday. And so you have the extra week for the first two assignments, so make sure you get the first four assignments submitted on Blackboard by September 15th, which is next Tuesday. So these four things that at the end of class today we'll have covered. Okay, so turn those into their appropriate spots on Blackboard. And yeah, you should have most of that done already. So we're going to start where we left off at the end of class on Tuesday because we had to finish that exercise. Okay, so we did kind of half of it. Let me go to example 2.5. Okay, so I think on Tuesday we got to step. So it looks like we finished step 8 and we're on step 9. If that looks correct. And so basically we did the first tab, the estimation tab, and now we're going to do the profit model. So if you go, and so I told you guys to try to save your file that we started on Tuesday to finish it on Thursday. Now, if you have that, go ahead and pull that up, and we'll continue from there. My guess is that not every single student has that, or wasn't able to finish it on Tuesday. And so if you don't have it, you can just use mine that's halfway completed, and we'll go from there. So go to example 2.5. All right, so this is the one that I started as an example together on Tuesday. So I'm going to pull this up. So basically, if you started the assignment and saved it and are ready to go from where we left off on Tuesday, go ahead and open that spreadsheet, and we should be at the same spot and we can finish it. Or if you don't have it for some reason, just go ahead and open mine that's dated on Tuesday, and then we'll finish that. So I'm going to open this up. Open yours up that you saved, or just open this one up. All right, so remember on Tuesday, if you were here, we were trying to estimate basically the demand curve for the price of golf clubs and the demand for golf clubs. So we did 3 different techniques. The linear, and the power and the exponential. Alright, and we did all the stuff on what type of curve fits the data the best. And after doing some error measures, we determined that the power fit, I think, is the best one. So we had the lowest of each of the types of errors. Okay, and so we finished basically this golf club demand spreadsheet. We finished the first tab, which is estimation, and now what we're going to finish today is the profit model on the second tab. See this? Okay, so we'll finish today starting here at the top of the profit model, and again we're on step 9 on the printout. So we'll start from there. Okay, so does everybody see what we're doing? We're starting where we left off on Tuesday. And again, if you don't have the spreadsheet that was halfway completed on Tuesday, just use mine, which is on there, and we'll go from there. So we're starting with step 9 to finish example 2.5. All right, so let's go back to the spreadsheet. And so you should see this stuff on the profit model. And so with the curve with the power model that we determined was the better fit, we're going to try to maximize profit and see how that changes when we change a few things, like the cost to produce golf clubs and the unit selling price of golf clubs. Okay, so we need to add one little section in here, and that is to put in the parameters of the best fitting curve from the previous tab. All right, and so I'm going to add in 3 rows because it's not in this template. And so if you click on like the 2, 3, and 4 over here, actually let's add 4. So if you do this, okay, so we've done this before, but if you click on rows 2, 3, and 4, and 5 like that, so it has it all selected, and then under the home tab, if you just want to hit the insert button, that will add some rows. It will add the number of rows you selected. So I selected 4. It's going to add 4 rows for the profit model. And I'm going to type in a few things.
Sorry, can you do it again?
Sure. All right. So we're on the profit model, yeah, and we need to insert 4 rows. And to insert 4 rows, let's select 4 rows that are in the numbers, like this. So we're going to select rows 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just grab it with the mouse and drag it down. Right, like that. See how it's selected all of row 2, all of row 3, and all the other rows? Yeah, and then when you have the home tab, you can just hit the insert button up here. And that should insert the number of rows that you selected, which in this case is 4. Yeah, does that work?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so in this we're going to add a section to just put in the parameters from the previous work we did. And so in A3, let's just title this section parameters of power curve. Okay, and we are going to put in the constant and the exponent that we got from the previous trend line. So in A4, let's just call this title constant. Right here in A5, let's call this the exponent. All right, and then all we need is the parameters that we already got from the previous sheet. So if you go back to the estimation tab, you can see that these are the parameters. All right, and so you can either memorize them or type them in, or you could I think I'll just copy and paste them if you want to do that. So to copy them, back on the estimation tab, just select B22 and B23, and then Control C is copy. And we're going to paste them here, and so you can just hit Control V for paste. Okay, so then you got the exponents here. Use the exponent, or use the constant for the power curve. And then here is the exponent, negative 1.91. Okay, if you want, you can unbold the subtitles. So if you select A4 and A5, the bold shortcut is Control B, and that also takes away bold. So if you hit Control V, that'll undo the bold. Alright, so all we've done so far is add this little section for the parameters of the power curve, and we put in, we copied and pasted the exponent and the constant from the previous tab. Okay, so now I think we're ready to go on to step 9. Alright. Okay, so step 9 is to get predicted demand based on predicted demand is to get the demand based on the power curve parameters. Alright, so let's put that formula into B14. Okay, so first let's put in any trial value for the decision variable. So in B11, let's put in the starting trial price is going to be 400. So just type that in here. Okay, and just to be consistent, let's let's color the appropriate cells before we start doing the calculations. So the unit cost, the unit price is the decision variable. So that we usually color that light red, so you can do that if you want. And then we're maximizing profit, so the profit cells are objective, B17. So you can color that the objective color, which is normally the highlight yellow. Okay, and the inputs are essentially the parameters from the power curve and the unit cost. Alright, so if you want, you can color these cells light blue for inputs. Okay, and then the unit cost, the monetary input is an input too. So you can color that light blue as well. Alright, so now we're ready to go to put that calculation in for step 9. Alright, so put that formula in B14, step 9. So in B14, the formula is equal. Okay, so equals B4 times B11 raised to B15. Alright, so that little caret sign is like the raised here. Okay, and you can see that we're just oh sorry, that should be B5. That's okay, so it equals B4 times B11 raised to B5. That looks right. Okay. So we're taking the unit price, we're predicting demand based on the power curve, and so it's just the unit price, that's our X variable, times the constant and then raised to the exponent. So we're specifying, we exactly specified the power curve using the parameters, using our X variable, which we're trying to figure out, which is price. So equals B4 times B11 raised to B5. Alright, and you get about 62, 63. Alright, and next step is to get revenue, cost, and profit. Alright, so back to the steps. Step 10, we're going to put those three simple formulas into cells B15, B16, and B17. Alright, so that'll get us to the profit. So if you go back to the spreadsheet. In B15, you can calculate total revenue with this simple formula equals B11 times B14. So you can see that we're only selling one good, and our revenue is how much we sell it for times how many units we sell. Alright, so number of golf club sets sold times the price is obviously our revenue. Alright, so you get a little more than 25,000, and then total cost, next formula, in B16 equals B8 times B14. So if we're selling all the golf clubs and it costs $2.50 per set of clubs to produce, and our cost is how many we sell, or how many we produce, times the cost to produce. So I guess we're assuming that we sell them all. We give $15,730, and then profit is just revenue minus cost. So in B17, the objective equals B15 minus B16, which is just revenue minus cost. You get $9,438. All right. So everybody following along here?
Could you read through what you did for the profit?
The formula, or just the formula for profit?
The formula.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just if you got everything else, this is B15 minus B16.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, next step, let's go back to the Word document. Is to build a little data table to see how profit changes when other variable inputs change. Okay, so step 11, we're going to build a data table. And first, let's set up the data table like figure 2.35. Okay, so the column input cell is going to be B11, and the linking point is going to be, we're going to link in the profit to the data table, which is B17. And we'll get a scatter plot of profit versus price. And then we can find the maximum profit, and we'll find the associated best price to charge. Okay, so back to the spreadsheet. Okay, so go down to where it says data table for profit as a function of price. That's what we're doing now. We're making that data table. And so it's got a few titles. In A24, let's call this unit price. And then in B24, let's call this profit. Okay, and then in B25, let's link in the profit. So your profit cell is B17. So in B25, just type in equals B17. Okay, so equals B17. So when the profit changes, it goes here. And then we're going to list a whole bunch of possible unit prices, starting with starting with 260. So so this A26, you can type in 260. Okay, we're going to start counting by 20, and you can type in the first couple, and then Excel can count the rest for you. So in the A27, type in 280. All right, and that should be enough for Excel to recognize that you want to count up by 2 in increments of 20. So just select A26 and A27 like this, which should be 260 and 280 that you entered. And then just grab the bottom right corner and then start dragging down until it counts by 20 and then all the way to this range. So let's do this. I'm not, so let me see if that's right.
Can you do that one more time, Professor?
Yeah.
The screen kind of lagged.
Oh, sure. Okay, so I think I counted a little too many. We want, there's a few, okay, so we want to count up to, I think, 1,000, and, yeah, let me do that again. Okay, so, alright, so first, before we do that, you just want to fill in the spaces, and so see down here where you have, there's another table that we're going to get to in a minute. You should see, if you scroll down, you should see maximum profit for different unit costs. And so we're going to get to that, but we want that to be in, that's going to start in A49. So let's delete some of these rows because there's way too many rows here. And so, I'll do this multiple times if you guys need to, but if you select the rows above this, right, title like this, and just, you know, okay, so what you want to do is delete enough rows. So this begins in A49, and then we have the space, we're going to build the table up here. But, so you want to select, I'll do that one more time. So the goal is to get this to start in A49, so we can come to that in the next step. Alright, so I think in the spreadsheet you have, it starts, it defaults to A77. Alright, and so if you select all the rows you want to delete, which are 49, alright, so just like we did before, but we got more rows. So with the mouse, grab rows 49 all the way to 76, okay? And then hit the delete button. And that should put this title or data we're going to get to, and you want that to start in A49, and then we'll go back to the previous one. But make sure that this maximum profit per different unit cost starts at A49, like you see online. Okay, so we got that set up. Okay, then let's go back to the data table. Right, so in A26, you got 260. In A27, you got 280. Then we're going to count up by 2 all the way to fill the rest of the space. So back to this step, select these two again. 260 and 280. Cell A26 to A27, and then grab the bottom right corner and drag down, counting up by 20. Okay, like this, and then go all the way to cell 47. Alright, so just do this. Okay, so you're counting from 260 all the way to 680 in increments of 20. And that should fill the space. And then again, you see this thing starts in A49, which we'll get to in the next step. Okay, so we have this data table set up. Okay, so now we're going to make the data table. So basically we're trying to see when the unit cost changes, what happens to our profit. That's what we're interested in. And so make sure in cell B25 it says equals B17. Don't just type in that number. It's got to link in the formula. So in B25 your formula should say equals B17.
I have a question.
Yes.
What number do we go to? Like dollar?
680? Yeah, 680.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so to make the data table, you want to select, starting in A25, select all the way down, including the profit cell, like this. Okay, so you want to select A25 all the way to B47. So I have all of this selected because we need that selected to make the data table. So A25 to B47, okay, like that. And then to make the data table, we can go to data and what if analysis and data table. So we only need the row input cells. We have a two-way table, so leave that blank. The column input cell is B11. Okay, because we're changing the unit price, which is B11. So that should reference to the precision variable, which is B11. So row input cell is blank. Column input cell is B11. Then hit the OK button. Okay, and if it works correctly, you should get the profit changes with unit price. So you should see that, or hopefully see, that every time you have a different unit price, 260, 280, 300, the profit that you expect to get associated with that unit price is shown in the table. Okay, so...
Sorry, could you please do it again?
Sure, okay.
Thank you all.
Okay, so let's do the table again. And again, the first thing you got to do is select the appropriate range, which is A25 all the way to B something. Okay, so you want to select A25 to B47. Alright, this whole range to make our data table. So if you have that selected, you can proceed. So click on the data tab, and then the option for what if analysis, click on that, and then choose data table. Okay, so leave the row input cell blank, and for the column input cell, it's B11. Alright, and then if you got this far, all you have to do is hit OK, and it should give you the profit that goes along with each unit price for the golf clubs.
Got it. Thank you a lot.
You're welcome. Okay, so we got that. We see the profit changes with different unit prices, right? So obviously, if it becomes more costly, it's going to decrease our profit because we spent more in production. Okay, next thing you want to do in step 11 is to make a graph or a picture of unit price versus profit. So if you got this data table working, you want to select this whole range starting with A24. Okay, so you can select A24 to B47. So you want all that selected, and then insert tab, and you can try recommended charts. And the one you want is this one, the scatter plot. Alright, so if you see that, choose it and hit OK. Alright, so there you go. You get a nice scatter plot of profit as a function of price. Okay, so we can put the title in just like you see here. So this is data table for profit as a function of price, and then this is the graph. So we can call this, if you go up here, just complete the title, profit. Alright, and so you see that these are the different unit prices that you might charge down here on the bottom on the x-axis, and then this is the associated profit, right? And so if you want, you can put labels in your graph so you can actually see what the axis is, where profit's on the y-axis and unit price is on the x. Alright, so you're trying to see the effect of unit price on profit, and you can see that at some point profit maxes out and starts to decline, so you're trying to find the best unit price to charge to get your highest expected profit. So if you want to select the chart, and if you want to hit the plus sign for chart elements, and you want to choose the option for axis titles. Okay, so just manually type in your titles. This over here is profit. And this is unit price. Okay. Yeah, that looks like a good picture of what happens. When you change the unit price, what happens to profit? Okay.
Can it go up or down?
What?
When you change the unit price, you're saying it can go up or down, right?
Well, so I'm saying that like we start with the unit price. Our possible unit prices are 260 to 680. All right, and so when the unit price, which is the selling price, or profit goes up, or so if we're selling it for more, then we get more revenue. But you can see that at some point it tails off because we must have lost demand. Like that's some price years we lose more people from not paying the high price. Okay, so we're trying to find what price we should charge for these clubs to maximize our profit, which is somewhere around here, right? Yeah, so it changes, but it increases at first, and then if we charge too much, it tails off. So we want to find this highest expected profit and the best unit price, right? Okay, so it might be hard to see that, but we can use the conditional formatting tools. The last part of step 11 is to find the profit, the highest profit, and then we'll find the unit price. So if you want to select this area, B26 to B47, okay? And then I think we've done this before, but if you're on the Home tab, if you click on Conditional Formatting, and you choose the top bottom rules, and then top 10, and then just change the 10. You don't want the top 10, you want the top 1. So decrease this to 1, and hit the OK button. Alright, and it should give you the highest profit in this range. And what you're interested in is that unit price that you can charge for that. So what this is telling you is that to get the highest expected profit, you would charge $5.20, because anything below that, you can increase the price and get more in revenue. And anything above that, you're losing too much in lost demand. So given this, simple analysis, you would charge $5.20 per club, per set of clubs. Okay, and also if you want, you can put that, you can make a note of, or let's see if we can find that spot on the graph, which is right there. So this is optional, but you can show the associated highest profit on the graph, because it's kind of hard to see. But if you click on the point that says 520, right, hover over it, and the point we want is 520.292, and click it, and then right click it, or let's try that again. Okay, there's 520 and 10.292, so click it twice. And you gotta have it so that it's the only one selected. Okay, and it might be hard to select it like this because there's so many dots in a row, but if you have it selected and you right click it, this is just a nice feature of the charts. You could choose add data label and add data callout. See if I want that up there. Okay, so there you can see this is the reference over here, and if you want, you can make a little note of that on the graph. So here's the point you found over here, and that's the highest profit point on the graph.
Mine only shows profit. It doesn't show the unit price on the little data label.
Oh, so you, on this part? You chose data call and it only gives you the profit? Okay. Well, you should be able just to type it in anyways. So if you click on the box, and so it only shows the profit. So that means if you go over here and just type in 520 and then comma, I think you can it's just a text box, so I think you can just type it in.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Sorry, how did you make it a call out like that rather than just a text box?
Oh, so let me do this part again. Okay, so we know that the point we want to reference or call out, I guess, is 520.10.292. So you got to find that spot on the graph by just hovering over, which is right there, and you want to use the mouse to select only that. So if you click once and click twice, you should be able to get that. It's kind of hard to get in the middle there, but if you can get the mouse to select, it's only selecting that one point that you want, and then go over that point and right click and go down to add data label, and the option you want is add data callout. And that should do it, and you can move it at any point you want, or move it around so it's not blocking. There you go. So did that work? Okay, so if you're not able to get the call out, you don't have to do this. This is optional. It just looks kind of nice, and that's a nice feature you have. If you have a bunch of points and you want to highlight like the maximum value or a specific data point, you can use that call out feature, Sometimes it's a little difficult to get your appropriate point selected, but it looks nice once you see how this is the highest point. It's kind of hard to see just by looking at it, but if you call it out, you can tell. Okay, so the last thing we need to do here for this part is see up here, you got the maximum profit data table below with corresponding best unit price. Okay, so essentially just, I think the easiest thing to do here is just reference the cells. So in your maximum profit is this, and your best unit price is this. So in B20, just type in equals B39, and then in B21, just type in equals A39. Okay, or you can just type them in, but the maximum profit is 10,292, and that's associated with the best unit price, 520. Okay, so final step of this exercise is step, I think, 12. So if I go back to the Word document, okay, so we're going to make a two-way data table to show how profit changes when both unit cost, which is the cost to produce the clubs, and the unit price, which is the selling price, when both those things change, what happens to profit, and how does that affect our conclusion? Okay, so we're going to reference the profit cell in A55 for the top of the data table. And we're going to put, we're going to reference the unit cost and unit price of the row input and row and column input cell. So I'll get to that in the data table. We're going to find the maximum profit and the corresponding best prices when those variables change. And we'll get a line graph showing that effect. And then we can see the effect of unit cost on profit, and that'll be the end of this one. So let's go back to the spreadsheet. Okay, so if you got this section done, you can scroll down, and remember this section should start in A49. So go ahead and go down here. So we're going to work on this data table where it says sensitivity of profit, maximum profit to unit cost. Unit cost is along top and unit price is along the side. So it's already kind of set up, but we need to do the data table. So okay, so first we have an extra row in here, so let's just delete this. So if you click on 55, we want to delete that row, right? So just click on 55 and then under Home tab, delete. Okay, and then in cell A55, let's link in the profit. So in A55, just type in equals B17. So in cell A55, just type in equals B17. Okay, so the table's kind of set up, and what we're trying to do is find out how profit changes when unit cost changes and unit price changes. So when the cost to produce the clubs and the selling price of the clubs changes, what happens to profit? When both of those things change, it's a two-way table. So if you got this here, equals B17, go ahead and select this whole area. Okay, so it's a big area, but you want to select A55 to F140, this whole area. So see how I got the linking cell, all the unit prices and all the selling prices. Okay, so select A55 to F140. And then we're going to make another data table. So with that selected, click on data tab, what if analysis, data table. Okay, and the row input cell is B8, and the column input cell is D11. Okay, and let me just show you why those are in. So row input cell is B8 because we want to change the unit cost, right? That's B8. And column input cell is B11 because we also want to change the unit price. So that's what those references come to, or are for.
What table did you put?
Oh,
Did you put?
no, this is just it's a data table. So I'll do it again, but if you hit OK here, see what the result of what you're trying to get is the different profits when both the unit cost changes and the unit price changes. So I'll do that one more time. Okay, so you have this set up here, right? This is equals B17, and you got the prices and the prices here. So you can select the whole area. So select and leave it selected, area A55 to F140. And then click on the data tab, and you want to click on the what if analysis drop down, and then data table. And you will specify that the row input cell is D8. Alright, that's going to reference the unit cost, and the column input cell is B11. That's going to change the unit selling price. And if you just do that to this point and hit OK, it should fill out the table. Alright, so some cases it's negative. So like if you don't sell it for enough, and if it costs more to produce than sell, you lose money. And so this is like the associated profit here. The unit selling price for 280. Oops. Okay, so this is how you read the table. If you sell it for 280 and it costs 250 to make them, then your profit would be 3,730. So when both variables change, cost and selling price, this is the corresponding profit. All right, did we get the data table work there, the two-way table? All right, if we got that, we got a few more things to do. So you can see up here where we got some cells to input, maximum profit for different unit costs. And so what we're trying to do here is, so up here, we were just concerned about unit price. So what's the best unit price? But in this further analysis, we also want to see what happens if also not only unit price changes, but if it gets more costly to produce the clutch. Then what happens? So if these are the unit costs, what price should we charge at each of these five possible unit costs, and then what's the corresponding best profit. Okay? So to find that, we can use the maximum function. So in B51, we can just type in equals. Okay, choose the max function, and then select this whole area under the 150, like this. Okay, so your formula is equals max B56 to B140, and that's going to give you the highest profit under this in this column. So if the unit cost is 150, what's the highest profit you can get? And that's equals max B56 to B140. So enter. Okay. And then what about the other options? So all you gotta do here is take that max formula and drag it over. Alright, so click on B51 and drag it over like this. Okay, and next to the max in this column, the max in this column, the max in this column, and the max in this. Okay, so yeah. Okay, and then we need to, I guess we need to manually find, because I can't think of a way to write the formula to do this. We need to find the best price associated with these highest profits. So scroll down to find 16381 and find the best price associated with it. So for example, 16381. I guess there's two options. But what if I do this? Okay, so it's close, but this one's a little bit higher. All right, so the best, I just tried to extend the decimal so I can see which one is the best, the highest profit. This one's 16380.58, and then this one's 16380 and 83 cents. So technically, this one's the better one. All right, so all you gotta do is type in manually 310, because that's the price you should charge to get the highest profit if the unit cost is 150. So 310. Just type that in there, and then let's find the best price that gives us this profit under the 200 column. Okay, and so that would be a price of 420. Okay, what selling price gives us 10292 in this column? Then I have to extend the decimal so I gotta pick something. Okay, so it's 520. Okay, let's find this one. What selling price gives us 8,719? 630. And then last one, let's find this number. 7,578. We got two options, so it's okay, so 730. Okay, so hopefully we found the maximum profits associated with each unit cost, and then these are the prices we should charge. So what this tells you is how you read this is if it costs this much to produce the clubs, we should charge $310 per set of clubs, and this is our profit. If it costs $200 to make the clubs, we should sell the clubs for $420, and this is our highest profit. So that's what we learned here. If the unit price is this, we charge this. That's our profit. Okay. Final thing for this one is let's make a line graph of max profit versus unit cost. So just select A50 to F51. Okay, and then with that selected, let's go up to the Insert tab. And we can do recommended charts. Alright, and you want this one, line chart? Okay. Okay, so this is what happens. We'll make some labels that see how this is what happens to profit or maximum profit when the unit price changes. So you can obviously see that when it gets more costly to make the clubs, right? Basically, if the production of the clubs is more expensive, then we lose some profit. But it's a nonlinear relationship, so we lose a little bit less, but not a 1-to-1, and that's because we can charge a higher price for those clubs at different unit prices. So let's call this graph maximum profit for different unit costs. Okay, so if you want, you can select the chart, select the plus sign for the chart elements. And then you can choose axis titles, like we did before, and just label this too. Okay, so the y-axis is maximum profit. And this is unit cost. Okay, so this just shows us that if the cost to make the clubs changes, given our power curve estimation, then how much do we charge? And it depends on the unit cost, but if the unit cost changes, we should charge this amount based on the unit cost. So that's what we decided, or that's what we concluded. All right, so I think we're done with this one, with example 2.5. So everybody good on this one? Do we need anything repeated? Okay, so you got the whole profit model, the profit tab here, and you got the estimation tab we did Tuesday here. So save this whole thing, and if you're done with this, or whenever you're done with it, this goes here. Example 2.5. Alright, so that's example 2.5. It was a bit of a long one, but we're done with it now, I think. So we got a few more things to do today, but we're done with that. Alright, so example 2.5, so there's like a little, this whole thing is like, if you had some extra data, how could you adjust the model? We don't need to do that. We're gonna skip that. Maybe I'll have that for extra credit sometime. But this little section, suppose you have an extra 6 months of data. Don't worry about that. Just skip that for now. That's like a bonus. And there are some practice questions. And let me go over the solution to those real quick, and then I have another exercise that you guys have to do by next Tuesday. Okay, so I'm under example 2.5. I'm opening up golf club demand, or sorry, example 2.5 practice questions solved. Okay, so these are pretty not too bad, but make sure you understand this because you'll need it for the curve fitting exercise that I'm about to show you. So this is like just a question from a similar model. So here's like another. I just changed the numbers. Here's the demand for golf clubs for different months and the demands, and then here are the parameters from the best fitting linear curve. Okay, so you can answer some questions just to make sure you understand that. Part A, using the parameters of the best fitting curve, just write out the equation for the linear curve. Okay, and so all you're doing is you got to use the intercept and the slope to just write out the general equation. So this is the intercept, this is the slope. So your parameters tell you in this estimation, demand equals 1,485.7, the intercept minus the slope of 0.8571 times price. So this is a linear effect of price on demand in this simple linear model. Okay. So just know how to take the parameters and specify the equation of price's effect on demand. Part B, this is important because you understand what the slope term means and how that affects demand. So what does the slope of the linear curve imply exactly? That negative 0.8571. So that is the effect on demand of a 1 unit change in the x variable, which in this case is price. So if price changes by $1, what happens to demand? It's this. Okay, so you can use the same kind of interpretation. When the price of golf club changes by $1, demand falls to the negative number. By that amount, remember these are golf club sets, so demand falls by 0.8571 golf club sets. Okay, so that's essentially saying that when the price goes up by $1, then demand falls by a little less than a whole set of clubs, about 85% of a club set. Alright, then C, does law of demand hold in this simple model, and why? And the law of demand holds because there's when price goes up, demand goes down, and vice versa. There's a negative relationship, which is the law of demand. So, because demand has a negative relationship with price, when price rises, demand falls, that confirms the law of demand. So if you get a negative relationship between price and demand, that by definition is the law of demand. All right. One more example, just so we get it, and then you can look at these on the Blackboard page and make sure that these make sense. So another example, we got different prices, different demands, different intercepts, different slope. So part A, same questions, different numbers. Using the parameters of the best fitting curve, you can write out the equation for the linear curve. Okay, so now we have an intercept of 500 and the slope is 5. So the same format, this is the effect of price on demand, but you have different parameters. So that would be 500 plus 5 times price. Okay, demand equals 500 plus 5 times price. What does the slope of the curve mean here? So 5, how do you interpret that? That is the effect on demand of a 1 unit change in the x variable, which is price. So same starting point, when the price of golf clubs increases by $1, demand now increases by 5 golf club sets because that's what this 5 is. So it's positive, that's an increase, and the 5 is the exact effect on golf clubs. So when the price of golf clubs increases by $1, then 5 more customers buy golf club sets, or 5 more golf club sets are sold. Then C, does the law of demand hold here? You should see right away that it's a weird estimation by design, and that's because for these golf club sets, when price goes up, there's an increase in demand. That clearly violates the law of demand, so it doesn't hold because demand has a positive relationship with price, and so in this made up example, when the price of clubs goes up, then demand increases, which violates the law of demand. So just help you understand what I mean there.
Is this something we're turning in together as well?
No. So this is I already solved it for you. So the practice questions, I usually have solutions. And so I just wanted to go over it because it's helpful to understand for the next assignment. And usually I have like 1 or 2 questions on the take-home exam. So you don't have to turn this in because it's already been solved. But I do want you to make sure that you understand it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So any questions on what the questions and the interpretations of these questions here? Okay. Let's close this. All right. So one more thing is you have one more assignment that's a little bit different, but it might be kind of fun. That's going to be due on Tuesday. And so let me just get you started on that. And if you good. All right. So I'm going to start with this. Okay. We've done these 3 things. Those are all due next Tuesday. And we have one more thing. I have a specific, it's a curve fitting assignment that I'm going to present now, and this will also be due on Tuesday. It shouldn't take you too long, but it's going to use some of the things you learned in this previous example and interpretation. So go back to Blackboard, and then the next section is assignment curve fitting. Okay, so let's go ahead and open the assignment curve fitting document up. That just tells you what I want you to do. Alright, so I have some data from the previous textbook, which is useful here for doing like supply and demand. Demand curves. So suppose this hypothetical brewing company, Kalamazoo Brewing Company, sells its microbrews in a 7-state area, which are Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Ohio, and Wisconsin. And so the company's marketing department got data from its distributors for each state, and so the data consists of quantity per case, which is demand, of microbrews sold, as well as the average income in thousands of dollars of customers living in the area. And yeah, so you got quantity, which is demand, you got price, which is the price per case, and you have average income. And so what you're going to do is, I'll show you what I mean, but there's a spreadsheet, and each student will get a specific state to assign just based on your last name. And so you look at the file states, and you'll just do kind of what we did with the golf club example. You'll make a little graph of price and demand, and then another little graph of income and demand, and see if you can estimate a trend line and just interpret the trend line. So that's really all you're doing is making a linear trend line and writing out the equation and interpreting it. So if you go to back to the Blackboard page. All right, so open up this one state. Okay, so you'll see here that there's data for 7 states. You only have to do one of them, and I have another spreadsheet that assigns you just based on your last name. So whichever one you're assigned to, whether it's Illinois, Indiana, whatever, just do that one. Okay, so you're only using one state. You don't have to do all 7 or whatever they are. Okay, so here's the data. Each state has price, it has quantity, price, and income. And so the full assignment is to see if you can estimate a linear trend line between price and quantity. Okay, so what happens to quantity? What happens to demand when price changes? And then also the same, what happens when income goes up or down? How does that affect demand? Okay, so it'll help you understand the trend line and how to interpret those. And a nice simple exercise. So back to this. Okay, so if you open up state list under the curve fitting assignment, okay, so I think I got everyone on here. If you just look for your last name, and then I just put it in groups of 5, and so there's I think 7 states. I was going to do one just as an example to post. But so just look for your last name. If you're in this section, just do the analysis for Illinois. If you're in this section, just do Indiana. So just find whichever state I assigned you by last name, and only do that one. So just do the one you're assigned to, and that way all the states get covered. So I'll get you guys started. But if you have questions, you might want to double check with the other students that are doing your state, just so you can verify your conclusions. But look at this. Is this assignment due this coming Tuesday or the following Tuesday? This is due next Tuesday. Yeah. So this is due Tuesday, September 15th. It's really not that long of an assignment. So all the assignments, including this one, the first 4, Nothing's due until Tuesday, September 15th, and you probably have these 3 done already, and so make sure you get these 4 assignments done by, next Tuesday.
So, for example, the one that's finished right now, example 2.5, for the golf club demand, that one is good to turn in, right? If we follow it up.
Right. So we've done pretty much in class example 2.2, 2.4, and 2.5. So if you've come to the WebEx meeting and done the assignments, you're done with those. So just post those here. You still need to do this, but it shouldn't take you too long. But yeah, those ones we finished those in class, and those just go in these sections, and this one goes here. But yeah. Okay. So this. Recordings are going to be posted. I don't know, what is that question asking? So the screen recordings are going to be posted
Like the videos for the class recording?
Yes, so all of those are posted, the first 3 meetings are posted on YouTube. This one will be posted after we're done. And
Okay.
So you know where to find those, right?
I'm guessing content or no?
Well, so if you scroll down to the YouTube link in the Blackboard page, click on that. And then if you click on channels, click on playlists, let's do that. And you want to go to Biz 272, right? Okay, and then all of the, so here's our first meeting, our second meeting, our third meeting. I'll get today's meeting up later today.
Okay, thank you so much.
You can watch those, yeah. But you said you don't have Excel?
I just got it, so I missed the other one.
Okay, so you were able to get it through the school like I showed you?
Yeah, I got it downloaded.
Okay, perfect, yeah, so that's why you're right. So I want to give the students who didn't have Excel yet an extra week, so yeah, okay, good. So you have Excel, look at the videos, and you should be able to follow along for everything we've done, but nothing's due until next Tuesday.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and then let me just, okay. So we have 10 more minutes. I can do a little bit of to get you started on this assignment if you want. So let's. Okay, so let's go through the rest of the assignment. It's pretty simple, but so you look at the state list and choose only the state that you're assigned to based on your last name. Okay. Then using only the state you need, every student just gets one state. You can use the trendline tools, like we did in the previous example. So make a little graph of quantity on the y-axis and price on the x-axis, and get a linear trend line, okay, with the equation, and then do the same, get another scatter plot or graph of quantity on the x-axis and income on quantity on the y-axis and income on the x-axis, okay, and get a trend line showing the effect of income on demand, right? And then all you're going to do is take those equations and kind of summarize what you found. Okay, so just to kind of interpret the equation and include a little summary. So really all you need is the graphs with the trend line and the equation, and just interpret them like I did in the example from 2.5, and that's it. So you just need to turn in, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, maybe just submit like a separate Word document. Just you can, if you want, you can just take like copy the graphs or copy the screen caps and put those into a Word document and just summarize what the equation means, and that's really it. So you don't really need to turn in your full Excel file. I guess you can, but okay. So let me start doing one as an example so you see what I mean. Okay, and then if you have any questions, I can go back to this. So here's the assignment. Find your state, do the trend lines, and then just interpret the trend lines. So that's really all you're doing here. Okay, so I assigned everyone to Illinois, or people to Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, and Ohio. That leaves one state left I can use as an example, which is Wisconsin. Okay, so I'll get do a few things with Wisconsin, and then you do the same for your state. And it really shouldn't take too long. It's just making a few graphs and trend lines, and then just interpreting the equation basically. Okay, so I'd recommend like open up the state's data, right, and just work with the state you're assigned to. So I'm going to delete the other ones because you only need the one state, right? So okay, so here's what you just get the big data file. Pick the state that you're assigned to by your last name and just work with that. So see how I have the one tab with just Wisconsin? Alright, so just don't worry about the data that's not yours, just do your state. And here, what you want to do is get a graph of price versus quantity, and then income versus quantity, and then get a trend line. So I could probably do that real quick. And maybe I can post this on Excel as an example if you want to see it. Everyone's going to get different numbers, except for the people in the same state. So, okay. So I think, let me see how I want to do it. I think the way Excel does it is that the default is you want price, you want the x-axis on the left, and the y-axis on the right. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but so if I just click on C and hit the insert button, okay, what I'm going to do is put price and quantity and then income and quantity, all right, two separate things, and make two separate graphs, okay? So I want to put the quantity column next to price and then next to income. So I'm going to select the quantity column. Okay, you should have about 50 observations. So I selected A1 to A51. Control C copies and Control V paste. Okay, so it might take a little, moving around, but what you want to have is price and quantity here, and then income and quantity here. And so then you can make a separate graph of both trend lines. Okay? So let's see. I'm gonna format price and income as currency. Okay, so that's gonna have the dollar sign, so you can see the effect of the dollar change on quantity. Okay, and now I'm going to make a graph of price and quantity. Okay. So I selected A1 to B51, and then I'm going to go to Insert tab. And we've done this, recommended charts. That looks bad. You want the scatter plot, hit OK. Alright, so it's possible you get a really bad relationship like this one, and that's okay because that's the point of the exercise, is to see if there is a relationship. So remember, you want to get the trend line. So to do that, click on the graph, click on the plus sign, and go down to the trend line, click on the arrow, more options, and you only want the linear one. And you can choose display equation on chart. Okay, so there's the equation. And you want to do the same thing for the income and quantity, and then you just interpret your equation. That's really all you're doing. Okay, so I'll do the same. Make a scatter plot of these two. Hit the trend line. Okay, you can see this data is made up, and this is a clear upward relationship. So this is telling you clearly that when these customers get more income, they buy more microbrews. Okay, and so let's do the same thing. Make a trend line for this one.
May I ask how did you get the second graph?
Oh, I just selected income and quantity. So in my spreadsheet it's B1 to E. See how that's what I selected. And then I just did the same thing, scatter plot, like insert recommended charts, then choose the scatter plot option. So here, alright, so I'm selecting income and quantity, the D and the E column. And then insert and recommended charts, and the first one is scatter, hit OK.
At first, a second, they are similar.
Well, we got to make the labels. Okay, so this one. See how if you choose it, it shows what you selected.
Mm-hmm.
So that's price and quantity, and that one is income and quantity. See?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so let me make a trend line, and then we'll make labels, and then I'll show you how to quickly interpret these, and then that's really all you have to do for your state. So click on this one, chart elements, trend line, arrow, and you want the linear trend line with display equation on chart. There you go. Okay, so make sure you know which chart is which. This is the first one you can see is price and quantity, so I can make little labels there. Add chart elements. Actually, is title. This is quantity. This is quantity demanded, I guess. Okay, and then this is price. Alright, and you don't really need the title here, but okay, and then I can label this one so I know this is income versus quantity. Okay, so there's your two graphs with the equations with the trend lines, and all you have to do now is just put these trend lines with the equations in the graphs on a separate Word file or a PDF, and interpret the equation, and you're done. So if I just did this, you can copy and paste the chart into a Word document. Just Control C. And then if you go to paste and just choose that option, the keep source formatting, and you can paste the other one. All right, and then just interpret what the equation means and using the appropriate variables. Okay, so this is the demand curve, the effect of price on demand. So you could just say that okay, when the price of a case of microbrews in your state increases by whatever this is dollars, I think. Yeah, price per case in dollars. Then this is the effect on demand. So demand, or sorry, decreases. All right, so that's just interpreting the equation, and you can see, looking at, I mean, it's going to depend on what state you choose and what the data looks like, but you can make a note that it's a, you know, clearly a good relationship, or see if it's like, there's dots everywhere. It doesn't, I'm not really sure if this is, a good relationship. I'm not really sure if when price changes, what happens to demand. So I'll just say this, the relationship is not very clear. Okay, and then finally, I'll just interpret this one real quick. So this is the effect of income on demand. So this is income with average income in thousands increases. Okay, then this is the effect of if the average income goes up by 1,000, then what this tells you is that about 10 more cases of microbrews are sold. So increases by all right, and so then depending on what your graph looks like, I can clearly see that on average, when income goes up, then more cases of beer are sold in this state. Okay, and so I went through that kind of fast, but I just wanted to give you guys an example of what to do, and I'll post my example of the Excel file in this that you can use. So that's all you have to do: get the two graphs, get the trend lines, put them on a separate document, and just interpret what that means. And that's it. So I'll post my example. Any questions on? So sorry I went over time a little bit, but any questions on what I want you to do for this assignment?
No questions, sounds good to me.
Okay, all right. So if you have any questions, let me know. I don't want to keep you guys any longer than I already have. So I'll post my examples. Email me or just let me know if you have questions. I'll stay on for a minute, and that goes here. So that's it for today. Have a good weekend, and I'll see everyone Tuesday morning.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too.